What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode number 80 of Lyon Live, here in Football Manager 2019. Can I start off by saying, how the hell is this episode number 80? How the hell is this quickly becoming one of the longest running series here on the channel? And also, just a thank you to each and every one of you who has been watching and enjoying this series. It has consistently had 6,000 people watching it from beginning till now, and I am very surprised at that, but I appreciate you guys watching, and hopefully we're going to have a good episode to remember today. I thought today we'd start looking at Lyon who is going to be playing for Lyon, who we take on today. This guy has 64 league appearances at the age of 17. That is not too bad for a goalkeeper, if you ask me, and he really has benefited from that. A lot of you guys were saying in the comments that maybe I need to bring him back into the team next year. I still feel like one more year out on loan could be beneficial. It's a real shame about his aerial reach only being 10, because every single other attribute other than reflexes is 14 or above, and decisions. I guess it's slightly less impressive. But what I'm trying to say here is there's so many 14s that, man, this guy, when he's older, he's going to be absolutely nutty. I should probably be offering him a new contract, although he does have an optional 3-year extension in his current contract. The only issue is going to be that he's going to want a big wage rise. But you know what? He's probably worth giving that big wage rise to, let's be honest. So I'm going to give him the 2-year extension plus the optional 3-year. In fact, that's no different to what we're offering him now in terms of length. I guess it's because he's 17 still and I can't offer him a full longer term deal. But yeah, he's a player who I want to get tied down sooner rather than later into a long deal. But yeah, we're back. And well, hopefully you guys are all doing fantastic. In terms of today's episode, we've got Lyon to kick things off. We've then got Liverpool away from home. It could be a little bit easier than that. We've then got Angers, Bordeaux, and potentially Lyon again if we get into that game. For some reason, we're playing them twice in the league really close together. I guess the game was repeatedly kind of jiggled around and moved around. Apparently, Gabels is seeming a little bit unhappy. Potentially wants a new contract. Mate. You've got a 4-year deal right now. A 4-year deal. I can barely offer him an extension even if he wanted one. The good news is, at least for now, he's happy to stick with his current contract. But that is something that we're going to have to be wary of. Okay, good news. Our transfer revenue kind of retained has increased significantly. We only have £7 million in the bank. You can see here we very consistently make a loss during the season due to our wage spend. I do really this year want to look at ways that we can maybe get the expenditure down a little bit. Obviously a player like Depay might be good to move on. Moreno is moving on, who's on 50 grand. I don't know. There's players down here, the younger players I'm less worried about. I guess it's players like Gananon really on £33,000, where it might just be a tiny little bit too much. And equally in the reserves, you know, we've got lots of players kind of on medium-sized contracts. Now, granted, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of these players are out on loan with their wages being paid. But a player like Saint-Maximin, I don't really want to be paying for his wages next year. And in fact, we could end up way above our wage budget when all the players return from loan and we're having to, you know, cover their wage costs again. That is certainly going to be something to be wary of. Of course, if you missed last episode for whatever reason, I do recommend checking it out. It was a longer episode, and we also had our youth intake in it, where we didn't have the best of players, if we're being honest. It could have been a better year. But, well, we'll try and move on from that, won't we? I am still thinking about playing a slightly adjusted system. We talked about it last time out, but playing something that's free at the back. I would like to start rotating the team and playing a very different system, but I kind of want to hold off doing that until after we're out the Champions League. And even then, you know, I'd probably still look to play this system here when it comes to the French Cup, because we are in the quarterfinals of that competition, and given how this season has gone, it's more than likely going to be our best shot at silverware. And actually, the board, they do actually quite value the French Cup, and it could be a saving grace and something that, I don't know, gives us a little bit of a silver lining after an incredibly poor season, it would be fair to say. They are playing a very, very deep and defensive system here. This could prove tricky to break them down. Of course, they've got Durand in goal. We'll keep an eye out on him and see what he does for them. But given how they're setting up in front of him, he might not even have that many shots against him. You can see to start the game after 25 minutes, we've had 8 shots, only 1 on target. I mean, slightly more possession, but it's hardly dominant. We'll have to see if we can, well, try and find a breakthrough now. The ball is lumped forward. We intercept it. Kingsley Coman bringing it forward on this left-hand side. Plays it across to Goebbels, who might go alone. Oh, my word. I mean, more goals like that, please, my friend. That is his 14th of the year. Coman gets the assist. The more I think about the future of this Lyon side, the more giddy and excited I get. Because, to be honest, this team is seriously talented and stacked with younger players who, at worst, I feel confident we could get in excess of £100 million for. I'm thinking of players like Goebbels and Keane, who, really, those two players, I would love to build the entire team around as a front two. Anyway, we took the lead early on in this game, but we now need to hold on, and while we're going to get that off the line, Lyon's first effort all game is from a corner. We clear off the line. The chance wasn't entirely over there. We managed to defend it. Could we launch a counter-attack, or is this the pointless highlight? Coman wants to make something happen. A fantastic run. Lays it off to Tolisso. Now with Toussaint. Ndombele might have a go himself. He does. It was not the best of efforts. May have hit one of the fans in a wheelchair in the front row there, which seems a little unnecessary. He had a lot more time there than the shot would indicate. It looked like he was trying to get away a snapshot before he got crunched, but actually he had quite a lot of time on the ball, and that finish was kind of disappointing. We do force an error out of them here, Lyon. Aouar to bring the ball forward. A little give and go with Malcolm. Ndombele with it. Pings it left to Tolisso. A really nice ball there. Tolisso loops it in. It's cleared away, but only as far as Ndombele. Aouar now with it. Gets tackled, but forced Ndombele. Coman, 1 assist to his name. Almost added a goal. The ball cannons off the post, and Durand, slightly unconvincingly, holds onto it for them. I mean, it's been a dominant display in the first half, but they did have that one chance. We have to be wary here. We can't afford to get too complacent. I know a lot of people have been saying, Jack, when are you going to start rotating your team? I kind of want to just guarantee ourselves a top 3 finish. And also, you know, if we get further in the Champions League, I want to continue to, you know, maintain match sharpness with our key players. But if we were to crash out against Liverpool in the second leg, which, let's be honest, it looks quite likely. We lost the first leg at home 2-0. We have a mountain to climb. As Ndombele, I mean, can you do that in the next game for us, please? That would be useful. He grabs his 9th of the season. I'd say that's a pretty good total from the centre of midfield. Aouar with another assist. We called him out at the end of last episode and he went on to get 2 assists in one game. He's added another one here. Squares it across. Ndombele with just acres of space to run into, and Durand, I don't know if he can be blamed that much in goal there. He probably could have got a stronger hand to it, but we're not going to complain. We've now got a chance here. Malcolm just wide of the post there. Was a somewhat ambitious effort by him, wasn't it? And now, well, he's got a corner. What can he do, Malcolm? He whips it in. Goebbels' free header just ever so narrowly over the crossbar. They now have a set piece. I mean, it's only the 51st minute. There's been so many highlights here, and oh my gosh, we've had a calamitous error there. The ball has hit the woodwork, hit Lopez on the back, and flown in. And I mean, Durand is going to have a smile on his face as he sees that. He might see the opportunity in the first team opening up. There's a header there by Martins, and Lopez, perhaps a tiny bit unfortunate. The header hit the woodwork, hit him on the back. He really didn't know a great deal about it. But with that, Lyon back in this. We've been dominant throughout. We've had a lot of chances at the start of the second half, not taking them, and then they've had that fortuitous effort. What can we do here? Ball falls to Ndombele. Oh my god, did Durand save that? I think he might have done, and if he did, that is a nutty save there. Ndombele, you felt like it was destined for his effort to find the back of the net. Unfortunately, Coman's picked up a knock. We'll bring in Moise Keane for him. Two-sided defensive midfielder, hasn't had the best game, so we'll bring in Romero. And I think with our last change, we'll bring in Trincao for Malcolm, who has struggled so far in this game. Going to go with a triple change. Still only a 1-goal match here. This is not kind of done and dusted just yet. You know, there is an air of nervousness, which I can't help but try and shake off and try and ignore. But, well, we need to make something happen here. Aouar whips it in. Trincao, free header. Durand saves it. It was offside, I think. But the keeper did still make the save. Durand is on a 7.1. He has the highest average rating for them. Militao, his effort goes over. This game has had 0 clear-cut chances and 0 half chances. It remains 2-1 and it feels like there's been a lot of opportunities. We've had 32 shots, 11 on target, and only 2 of them have found the back of the net. It's not been the most convincing of attacking displays from us. Still time for us to maybe get a goal here. Ndombele pings it wide to Militao, who crosses it in. Keane's there. Great ball by Militao. Great build-up play. Unfortunately, their header at the end of it wasn't the craziest, and Durand held firm. He's looked very, very good in this game. He's been tested a lot. We've ensured that. Not a load of clear-cut chances going our way, which makes you think that the saves he's had to make have been easier than perhaps you might realise. But he's still doing a job. Unfortunately, he can't do the job there. Aouar adds another assist for the scrapbook. And Gabels gets another. He is finding some form, finally. It's his 15th goal of the season. Let's hope this is a sign of next season's kind of form that Aouar and Gabels are hitting here. Really nice play. Nice header by Gabels. Durand, I don't think he can be blamed too much for that. Aouar now with a set piece. He hits it. Keeper spills it to Gabels, who has an effort, and that should have been the hat-trick for him. Durand, not a bad save. It was hit straight at him. The finish was lacking. But still, it had to be done. And Ndombele, a little bit tame that effort, it would be fair to say, as it goes wide of the post. You can see here that free kick effort so close to getting over the line by Aouar, but unfortunately it just wasn't quite doing. Wissa now with it, Lebombe. I'm feeling like this off-season could be a really long off-season, guys. The more I think about it, with the tactical changes I want to do, and potentially just trying to get rid of a lot of the players we've been loading out, I really want to strip down the squad size. Try and profit on some of the youngsters we brought in who aren't going to quite make it, and then, you know, have a solid squad established. But with all that going on, it feels like it could be a busy summer. Although I know for a lot of you, you're licking your lips at the prospect of that, because I've realised with this series that the summer transfer window tends to be the bit that you guys enjoy watching the most, because there's a lot more decision making to be had there. You kind of see how I sort through my squad, the negotiations. That's a lot of the stuff that is often overlooked, I feel like, with FM saves on YouTube. Just the nitty gritty little bits that you don't really see. And, oh, you guys absolutely love it. We hammer them. Coman is out for 4 to 5 weeks. That is pretty disastrous for this next game. Gabels picks up the man of the match performance. He has been in really good form as of late. If we just look at his last 5 games, he's got 6 goals in that and a 7.74 average rating. It's what we want to see more of by him. 10 goals in 23 now suddenly doesn't look all that bad, does it? The only concern now is what the hell do we do about the lack of Coman in our team? You can see Depay's obviously out, and Ndombele is going to be suspended for the first leg. It's not the kindest of run-ins. I guess the good news is we've got Moise Kean who can step up. I will probably swap out Malcolm for Trincao. Coman is going to be dropped for... It's going to have to be Oje, isn't it? Unfortunately, Maulida's still out for 2 to 9 days, and, well, Depay is a long way away from being fit. I feel like Depay, we've got to try and sell for whatever we can get him. I do rate him, and to be fair, he was good for us the last couple of years, but this year he really struggled, and the broken leg has kind of just wrecked him. And on £85,000 a week, I don't feel like he's worth that kind of money, unfortunately. It's just difficult to justify. Ndombele is struggling, but the good news here is that we have a ready-made box-to-box midfielder in Tolisso who is world-class. And we can just slot in Mendy at left-back. Given Toussaint's form this year, I'm actually tempted to bring in Lucas Romero. Lucas Romero, I feel like, has really been an unsung hero for us. He stepped up a lot. To be honest, he would be a very, very good starter for us. He's 27. I am wondering, as a ball-winning midfielder next year, is he the man to turn to? If we just compare him and Toussaint. Like, Toussaint defensively is definitely better. But as a well-rounded midfielder, maybe... just maybe Romero has a little more to offer. You can see the direct comparison here. They're quite different in a lot of ways, but quite similar in others. I mean, it's a great problem to have 2 players as good as these 2 guys, I guess, fighting it out. Romero's currently got 2 years left on his contract. He's on 55 grand. I wonder if we can get him to extend his deal. will he do a 4-year deal, a 2-year extension for only £5,000 more? He will. That could be a really big bit of business. Just wonder if there's any other players I want to look to renew. See, Mendy, I probably should renew. The challenge is always going to be his wages, although he's on 38 grand at the moment and he only asked for 41. So maybe we can get him just to accept his current salary. Indeed, we can. That could be a really good bit of dealings. I'm just wondering if there's any other players. Trincao, your current contract runs out kind of soon, although you've got the optional 3-year extension that we can trigger, so that's less concerning. Any other players here? I mean, Toussaint, you've got the optional 3-year extension that we can trigger, so I've not got to worry about yours. Auger, I don't know if Auger has an optional extension. He does. I mean, next summer we're going to have about 3 or 4 different players who we can just trigger those deals in to lock them in for even longer, which is fantastic. I mean, the good news here is that we have lots of players locked in for like the longer term future. You know, like we're not going to be in a position where we feel like we have to sell. I feel like the sales that I was talking about earlier will really come as a result of the fact that I'm going to want to just, I guess, trim down the squad a little bit, get rid of some of the fat. But there's going to be some players like Freitas who I'm really excited to have back. This guy has gone from being a pretty infrequent player for Malaga to being a nailed-on starter for them. You can see how much he's improved here. He looks really, really good. I mean, how does he compare to Auger, actually? I mean, I'll let you decide which of the two you think's better. I think Auger as a deeper midfielder might be better, but Freitas, I think it's his 17 finishing, really, which I really, really like. He could easily play as a striker, but I feel like as an advanced playmaker or attacking midfielder, he could be huge for us. It does mean for a player like Gravenberch, like, what do you do with him? Because Gravenberch is a great talent, but he's an inconsistent player. And you compare him to Freitas. I mean, I know which I'd rather have. Freitas is a year younger and is a lot more complete as a player. You can see slightly lacking in the mentals, and overall there are a few areas where Gravenberch maybe has the edge. But then ultimately stuff like crossing, corners, free kick taking, those don't matter that much. You know, they really don't matter that much. And then some of the other more marginal ones here, there isn't a great difference between them. And given Freitas' age, I'm not too worried about his mentals. Freitas is someone who I'm very, very excited about. Rodrigo Antonio is another interesting one. He could probably do with being loaned out. Unlike some of the other players I mentioned, because he's only on £5,000 a week, it's a lot easier to stomach the idea of loaning him out. Really, the players I was talking about before are these kind of players here. Maybe you exclude Auger. But there's certainly some players here who we can probably cash in on. You know, players like Caramo, we brought him in on a free transfer. Bit of a punt from Inter. He's valued at £7 million. He's not on the largest wages in the world, but if we can get £10 million for him, it's fantastic. And Luka Jovic as well. Definitely not the Luka Jovic after the winter update. You can see he's struggled so much on loan at Sevilla. We brought him in on a free transfer. Even if we just get £7 million for him, that is very valuable money in the bank. And I would like to think that we can do a bit of that kind of flipping of players, I guess, over the summer. Turning a profit with some of the players we brought in. I would like to get the overall wage expenditure just down a little bit because we are constantly, as you've seen, making a loss every month. Which definitely has an effect on us. I wanted to look at expanding the stadium, but it looks like we can't ask for that at the moment. Our stadium's fantastic, but it could probably be a bit bigger. We very frequently sell out. But we don't need to think about that right now. We need to think about the game at hand against Liverpool. This is a scary game. This is a big game. David Diaz, you know, he's going to be coming back from loan. He's probably going to be a player fighting for a first team spot. He's got 3 years left on his deal. I do wonder if we can offer him an extension. I feel like given the fact he's playing as a regular for Juve, he's going to want a big increase. But a guy like this breaking through at age 19, combined with the likes of, well, with the likes of Markovic as well, who looks superb, and also Konate, who looks like a very, very solid backup. I mean, it does make you wonder, you know, could we move on one of these players? Could we move one of them on? You know, you can see here that Diaz is a bit better defensively than Konate and is also 3 years his junior. I mean, Lenglet's got interest in him. If we cash in £80 million for Lenglet, Do we need an immediate replacement? I mean, we'd be losing a fantastic ball-playing player, don't get me wrong, but you can see from a defensive point of view, David Diaz is very much his equal. And we do have Eder Militao, who we could very easily move in to play at centre-back if we desperately wanted that ball-playing defender. I mean, if we compare him to Lenglet, you can see the difference between them there. Like, Lenglet better defensively, sure, but Militao better just with his well-roundedness. And that's saying quite a lot, because Lenglet is very good with his versatility. If we played a three at the back, I would feel like I wouldn't be so concerned about not having centre-backs great with the ball at their feet if Militao sat in the middle. You know, if you played two regular centre-backs, you know, at left centre-back and right centre-back, and then as part of the back three, Eder Militao was that central player. I've got this mad idea in my head, and I have floated it around on Twitter. Could he play libero? Could we... Dare I play a libero? I guess that's the better question. It's not could we, it's dare I play the libero. It might be a little bit of a mad idea, but it's an idea that I can't shake out of my mind. I feel like it's the kind of thing that probably isn't worth the risk. I don't think I've ever used a libero unironically in Football Manager, at least on my YouTube channel or on Twitch. Maybe that changes this summer. Maybe next season we treat next summer at Lyon as kind of the experimental year. You know, we've been here 4 years now. Maybe we switch the systems. Maybe we experiment with some stuff and kind of just use it as an opportunity to see what we can devise in terms of strategies. But anyway, enough kind of talking about plotting for the future. We've got to deal with the here and now. And what I want to do exactly. I mean, the issue is that we're missing a lot of pretty key players here. We'll put Kenny Lala on the bench over Moreno. I mean, it's a very, very strong team, isn't it? That's what you'd say. Our players have recovered well from the previous fixtures as well in terms of fitness. You know what? I think this is the team I'm going to go with. We're massively up against it here. We go to Anfield knowing that we need to score at least 2 goals in this competition to stand a chance. Of course, if we can get 2 early goals, suddenly Liverpool are on the back foot. But this is Anfield, and football tends to not be as simple as it would be any other night when you go to Anfield, you know? It's just a very, very different kind of atmosphere. Giving chances to players like Lucas Romero. The other thing I've not really talked about is if I did want to stay with a 4 at the back and sell Lenglet and move Militao across, Lucas Romero's a really adequate right back. Can definitely do a job for us there. Anyway, let's see how this plays out. Lenglet's picked up a booking early on. We'll tell him to ease out of tackles. Lucas Romero picking up a booking does scare me a little bit as well. I'm not going to pretend that I trust him. He's like the pet dog who you know's bitten someone before, but you're willing to give him another chance and he'll change, and you want to give him a second chance. This is his second chance here. I want him to prove me wrong, but at the same time, I don't know if I trust his nature to have changed. You know, he's a terrier of a South American centre mid. You know the type. If you follow football, you know the kind of South American centre mid that I'm talking about. That one who just wants to win the ball and do stuff with it. Aouar! Oh my gosh, Alisson Becker pulls out a huge save. Their first real chance of the game goes our way. So far in this game, we've had over 60% of the ball after 25 minutes. Unfortunately, that first chance to come our way has been squandered. And we're going to need to, well, I want to say mentally reset, but really just worry about it a little less, you know. At half-time, would I have taken 0-0? Maybe. I mean, maybe I'm speaking too soon here. We need to deal with this. Firmino to Barrios at the back. You can see they've got this really stacked attack. They have put a lot of men forward. We're trying to press them out and force an error, but they're getting in behind here. Alexander-Arnold switches it to Julian Brandt, who hits the woodwork this time. Thankfully, it doesn't hit Lopez on the back. At a half-time, it's going to be 0-0. Which is interesting because I feel like it's been a very, very close game here. Show me something else in the second half, boys. Show me something else. Show me what you're made of. There's going to come a point in this game where I need to go more attacking, but I don't feel like it's yet. As we have a chance, and Trincao actually, he scores. We've kept the faith in him. He scored from the crossbar and in. And well, Aouar's got the assist. That is the start to this half that we needed. You know, the immediate fight back. Aouar crosses in, Trincao heads it. And that crashes in off the underside of the crossbar for the number 65. And you'd have to say, on the balance of play tonight, we probably deserve that. And we're going forward again. We are showing little to no fear here. Wallace with it. What can he do? He goes wide to Eder Militao. Crosses it in. Cleared away. Only as far as Brandt to... Well, we're forcing to go back to goal. We're trying to apply this pressure high up the pitch and force out the error. Nice win by Wallace. That is a huge win there. Ball forward. Lenglet gets absolutely rinsed. Don't foul him. What a tackle that is. My word. On a booking, that had to be perfect. And that was perfect by Lenglet. I can't knock that one little bit. That is a huge saving tackle. I do feel like with this game emerging and kind of developing as it is, we need to commit more men to the attack and maybe go more attacking. But with half an hour left, is it too soon? I mean, it certainly won't be if they score here. We block the initial cross effort, but out to Alexander-Arnold. Lenglet heads it out to Liso. Should just about help it on its way. Although he struggles. It's now with Alexander-Arnold, who crosses it into Brandt. Lovely save. Oh my word, Lopez. You massive, massive stallion of a man. Right, I'm going to make a change here. I'm going to bring in Toussaint for Romero, and we're going to go more attacking. We're going to move Aouar higher up the pitch. Going to play a more traditional 4-2-3-1 and see what we can do here. We have to do a little bit of a roll of the dice. It's our more direct attacking style of play. Time is trickling away here. I'm going to set both Keane and Trincao to attack. I could move Militao and Mendy higher up the pitch. We've got to roll the dice a little bit here, folks. Keane hasn't had the best game. I feel like... Do I want to take him off? I could swap him with Aouar and then bring in Auger. Actually, I'm not going to bring in Auger. I'm going to bring in Shadas at advanced playmaker. That's what I'm going to do. Shadas has been kind of this reliable impact player for us for years. Can he have an impact here today? We need him to. We'll go very attacking as well. This is like one last roll of the dice, really, isn't it? Demand more from the players. We need a goal to stay in Europe. There might be one last chance. Although it could well be for them. You know, we're committing so many men forward here. We are going to be left open at the back. Pulisic. Lopez holds on to it. I feel like that was the opportunity. They now have a free kick. Time is just trickling away here. Lopez, for all the saves he's made there, he's going to feel disappointed about that one. We pushed Liverpool to the edge in this game, but it's going to finish 1-1 on the night. They have an absolutely crazy team, Liverpool. We beat them before to make it to the Champions League final. We're not going to replicate that here this year. It was always going to be tough after the first leg. I feel like considering we were away from home at Anfield, that is a performance to not be ashamed of. I'm still going to tell the players that it was unacceptable, but... yeah, it's hard to regard it as anything but disappointing. Our board might be a little bit disappointed with that because I think their expectation was to reach the quarter-final, but equally I'm hoping they'll appreciate the fact that we did lose to Liverpool. If we look here, you can see they're disappointed we only reached the first knockout round. However, they understand we had a difficult draw. That's kind of them. In the league, it's not looking that great, is it? You can see here, they're disappointed we're only going to get the Champions League spots. Apparently, the big disappointment is just how far off the pace we've been, and it's hard to argue against that. I mean, the good news is we have good managerial support, and they like the tactics, and they like the work that we've done here. Unfortunately, that might not be enough. Now the question comes, how would I change the team? Because we might as well think about this now going forward. If I was going to change things, I think right now I'd have to change this system, the 4-2-3-1. Have I got it saved? I want to make sure I've got it saved before I do anything here. We'll overwrite the old version of it. So, we're going to do something different, I think. Do I want to change the tactic now, or should I save it for next episode? You know what? I'm actually going to save it for next episode so we can start with sorting out the formation, because truth be told, I've not fully worked out in my head how we might approach things with the 5-man midfield and the 3 at the back. I want to mull it over a little bit more, and also I guess I can give you guys an opportunity here to leave any comments that you guys have, any ideas you have for how we can maybe do it. So if you've got any, get them down in the comments. Alex Gomez, good release clause. Unfortunately, I don't like the look of him right now. He could have insane potential, but he's not a ready-made star. This guy looks pretty good. He's playing for Lille, although he's inconsistent as well. Too many inconsistent players on offer. Who's this guy? Rafa Rosales. I mean, given our current plans of formation change, he's just not going to fit as a fullback. It's just not going to work. So I think what we'll do, guys, is I'm going to do the Angers game today. And then I'm going to leave things to you. Not as in I want to know exactly how you'd play and for you to tell me how you'd... Well, I do want to hear how you'd want to play, but please don't phrase it like your way is the correct way to play, because with 6,000 people watching this series, I'm sure that each and every one of you has a slightly different idea for how you would approach things in my current situation. But I think after this Angers game, we go and look at what tactical changes we can maybe do in terms of a 3 at the back system. So if you've got any ideas for how you would approach things, I saw last episode some people talking about a 4-4-2, some people talking about how they might approach a 3-5-2. I would be very, very interested. Just hear your thoughts in the comments. Maybe you're someone who doesn't leave a comment very often in this save. You know, who would you build around? I guess that's a good question. Say, which players do you feel like are the solid players that have to be built around? Because for me, right, I feel like we absolutely have to build around Moise Kean and Gabels, but that might seem mad to some of you. I also feel like Aouar has to play a very big role. His recent form's been really good. 6 assists in his last 5 games. He has started to elevate his game to another level and find some confidence. I feel like for me, I'm imagining a 3-4-1-2 with a 3 at the back system, a 4-man midfield with wingers, and then probably 2 slightly more defensively minded centre midfield roles on, let's say, Toussaint and Ndombele. Aouar would be the attacking midfielder, and then we play a 2 up top system. But, as I've said, I would be really curious to know how you guys would approach it, because I do feel like this is one of those situations where there isn't really a right or wrong way to approach things here. The thing that we have really, and that we're really blessed with here at Lyon, is we have such a talented squad. We can kind of do anything. But I feel like having had 4 years of a similar system, you know, it's getting a little bit stale. I feel like the players have changed a little bit. And it's kind of time now for us to maybe look at how we could do things differently. And for me, just given the current players that we have, I love the idea of trying to get a 3-4-1-2 with an attacking midfielder working. For those of you who have been around a very long time, you might remember at Lewis FC, we played a system that was just like that. What a series that was years ago. And also this year in the match engine, 3 at the back works really well with wingers, which traditionally I would never really advise, because I always felt like the fullbacks got, or rather the wider centre-backs got a bit abused. But actually this year it doesn't feel as punishing to, not run full-backs and then not have wing-backs either. So with that in mind, that's something I'm considering. Apparently Lukijovic is being played as a winger. I mean, who is playing him as a winger with 8 crossing? Jesus, mate, can you sort this out? I think it's vitally plays his current role. Okay. Well, at least he gave me the decency of a reply. What was the score there? Monaco beat Marseille 3-0. Monaco can have the league wrapped up pretty soon, given how this year's gone. I think for this game, look, we know right now, okay, we're not winning the league, folks. I'm going to let you know that gently. But we have 2 games in hand. Auxerre have fallen completely by the wayside. There is 21 points on offer. If we win our 2 games in hand, we go 14 points clear of Guingamp. So here, actually, I'm going to select our entire team to be rested and then hit quick pick. And what this is going to do is it's going to pick a team from the players who I didn't select to be rested. And I'm going to use this as a bit of a base. So I like Kanate, Markovic and Barrow. That is, a perfectly fine kind of set of players there. I wouldn't mind giving Ollison a game out on the right-hand side, the young regen who we brought in, the Danish player. I feel like Ollison next year and James Taylor would be the two players who come in and play as backups to our out-and-out striker, potentially along with Aneda. That would leave Maulida as a bit of a spare part. Man, we have too many talented wingers. I'm going to have to be pretty brutal again. I think a lot of what we do in terms of squad business might be just entirely down to who we can end up selling and buying, you know? Like, who is actually going to attract interest and get offers that are worth it. I think we'll give Keane the nod. Is he going to be fit? Yeah, he should be fit. He'll manage, maybe. Gabel's on the bench, Auer on the bench. Always have to be a little bit wary with this method of picking a rotated side, because sometimes just the normal players you would rely on to be on the bench just aren't there and you don't realise it until you're ready. But yeah, let's go with this. Bit of a rotated team. Kanate and Markovic are going to play at centre-back. They are our two second-choice centre-backs, but they need football to develop. They've both been given a little bit of it. Markovic has got 14 games this year. Kanate only 4. Barrow at right-back. I mean, you can see here, he has benefited a lot from the football that we've given him. We'll give him the nod in the right-back position. Moreno. Do I want Moreno playing there? Mendy. You know what, Mendy? You can come in and slot in there, I think. And I think this is the team that we'll go with. You know, there's a little bit of rotation required, but that's kind of to be expected. But a chance for a few less household names, I guess you could say, to show us what they're worth. Let's see what you can do, shall we? Passionate team talk. All the players are loving it. Let's see how we can step up, you know? Let's see how we can do it. A little bit nervous going into this game against Angers. Always am when I play a rotated 11, because I feel like if it doesn't go to plan, it's my fault. You know, I kind of feel like, well, maybe I should have just only rotated half the team. You know, kept players like Auer and Gabels on the pitch. Equally, players like Shadas just tend to step up in these kind of matches. And, well, James Taylor, he's got his third of the season. He's firing on all cylinders, the Hearts youngster. Manchester United were interested in him. We broke the bank a little to bring him in. He's not known for his aerial ability, but let's just discuss this finish. Lovely little header. I mean, it was an open goal, but don't take that away from him. Given him the chance, and he's taken it. And now let's hope that Ollison out on the right can have a good game as well, the young Danish player. He's only 16, more naturally a striker, just due to the way that we play and Taylor's lack of flexibility and me wanting to give them both game time. He's out on the right today, but to be honest, he's pretty well suited to play as an inside forward. And while you can see him on the ball here, plays it across to Shadas, to Ndombele now, who brings it forward. Moise Keane, back to Ndombele, could be laid across here. Taylor, Shadas hits it, oh my word. I thought for a second he was just going to rifle it into the top corner. Unfortunately, it flies over the bar. But that was not too bad of an effort at all. We look pretty good at the moment. Shadas switches it over to Ollison. What can he do? I'm going to repeatedly mention the fact he's Danish and he's only 16. I feel like that's his USP at his moment, his unique selling point. Ndombele has 2 bites of the cherry. You would have thought after the second one he would have learned. Hopefully we'll see less of that. He doesn't like his long shots, Ndombele. As good as it looks, the fact he's got 9 goals from centre midfield this year, it does feel like often we see him just long-shotting it over the crossbar. It's just a case of, without his goals, would we struggle? Would we gain more from him not doing those shots? Or would we lose the goal-scoring threat because he would take less of those kind of efforts? And now we're gone here. Let's make some changes. I'm going to bring in Trincao for Ollison, who's not had the best of games. We'll bring in Gabels as well for Moise Keane. Going with the double change in the wide areas. Gabel's going to play a slightly unorthodox role for him as the inside forward on the left, although he's well suited to it, to be fair. $10 left. I'm going to demand more from the players here. Let's get them focused after the restart. Should I be scared that with 3 minutes left, they're on the attack? They've not had a shot on target all game. Don't do this to me, Football Manager. Don't hurt me. Stop it. Stop it. Garcia. They whip it back post. Rainy Adelaide, you might be offside. Please tell me it's offside. Put me out of my pain. Thank you, FM gods. Thank you. If that goes in, I cry. Fortunately, it's been disallowed, and with that, we should now cling on to the 1-0 lead. I mean, someone will say, if you went more defensive, maybe that wouldn't have happened and you wouldn't have had that heart-in-mouth moment. They've done nothing all game. Literally nothing. You know, it's one of those situations where I really don't want to, you know, change things for the sake of it when we're doing well. I mean, our B team gets the win. It's an okay result. With that, you can see we go up to 65 points. I mean, we're only 8 points off PSG now with the kind of equal amount of games played. The gap to Auxerre is up to 13. We're really not that far off now, guaranteeing ourselves Champions League football, which I guess is good. The most upsetting thing is when you just look at the past league positions there. We've just never been at the races. I mean, I think the highest we've been all year is 3rd. There's our season in a nutshell. It's just been a slow start and we've never really been at it. And meanwhile, Monaco and PSG have been having their own little battle at the top as they squabble for supremacy. And we've just been a bit of a spectator this year, which hurts to say. But anyway, folks, we'll wrap things up here for today. Again, just want to echo what I said at the start of this episode. Thank you so much for your support on this series. Without you, this would have not gone on as long as it has. Really, really enjoying it still. Next episode, we're going to maybe look to mix things up tactically. So if you've got any ideas, suggestions, formations, players that you think I should underutilising or ideas for how we could use players differently, feel free to hit me with them. Sometimes, you know, the craziest ideas work and, you know, sometimes it just takes a slightly different thought approach to things. And occasionally, you guys do actually have good ideas. Contrary to popular belief, occasionally there's nuggets of wisdom in there that I do actually take on. And I hope that does come through in the videos as well. But anyway, folks, I'm going to wrap things up here for today. I will see you guys again soon. Thank you for watching. Drop a like if you've enjoyed. It is me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.